What's up, guys? I'm Crystal Lee Naomi, aka Jasmine Borders on Tyler Perry's Sistas. Be sure to subscribe to the Haves and the Have-Nots review for not only reviews on the Haves and the Have-Nots, but also on Sistas. And while you're at it, give your girl a follow on Instagram at Crystal Lee Naomi. And I'll see you every Wednesday at 9, only on BET.
All right, Sisters fans, I'm actually kind of glad I waited to do this video like 3 days ago because I actually wanted to do it recently, 3 days ago, excuse me. But tonight I actually just found we do have episode titles and synopsis for the first two episodes of this season airing tonight on BET. Now, make sure you like the video, hit subscribe, hit the bell notification icon. That way you don't miss out when I post new content to the channel. And follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. Is Andi done with Gary? We know in the preview that, Gary's like, oh, so you're just going to walk out on me when I need you the most, and then Andi actually leaves him. And the question is Andi done for good? And I think in my trailer breakdown, I said, well, think about DC Comics, movies, comic books, whatever the case may be. How many times has Harley Quinn walked away from the Joker, but then came right back to him? Look, I know in recent days, Harley Quinn is pretty much, like a solo agent. She's more... I feel like Harley Quinn is more associated with her relationship with Poison Ivy than the Joker nowadays. But go back maybe 2 or 3 years ago, oh, it was all Harley, all Joker. But I mean, in season 1, like in episode 24, we learned that in college, Andi was in an abusive relationship, and yeah, that actually answers a lot of questions. I mean, it actually explains a lot, not necessarily excusing Andi's poor decision making, but at the same time, it does make sense of certain things that have happened as the show has gone on. But I do feel like the episode synopsis revealed something because Gary believes that he is being set up. And then in the second episode, Gary calls Andi and reveals that he believes Jasmine is framing him. Well, I don't know. I'm just like y'all. We'll have to watch the episodes together to make sense of this. But I will say this much: even if Andi, I think I said this in the breakdown, or I made a post about it on Instagram. Even if Gary, well, honestly, based on the synopsis, I don't think Gary's being written out of the show. But even if Andi's officially done with Gary and Gary's like locked up, like Catherine, I mean, Andi still has to deal with the repercussions of her choices in season 1. It's almost like I always say, like, even if Veronica Harrington gets killed off the haves and the have-nots, her presence could still be felt based on like the puzzle pieces that she has for like Jim, Catherine, and David. So even if something happens to her and she's killed off, then her presence is still felt based on the damage she's causing the other characters in her death. And that's impressive because from there, Tyler Perry will have to really show what these characters are made of and how they will continue the fight, because even from the grave, Veronica's making their lives a living hell, and they'll have to clean up the the mess left behind by her. I feel like the same thing is with Andi, because even if Gary is being framed, she's still a part of this, and she has to deal with like the whole thing involving her job, the conflict of interest, her apartment being seized, but basically everything she owns being seized by the government, and like her money being taken away and everything like that. There's a lot of crazy stuff going down, and Andi's going to have to pick up the pieces. It's like when Gary was dealing with the whole Jasmine falling off the parking garage, and he, hey, can you help me? Can you help me? And it's like, yo, Andi just lost her job and she needs to fight a battle with the law firm. She ain't got time for you. So yeah, if she finally decides to walk out on Andi, if Andi decides to finally walk out on Gary for good, it's going to be very interesting to see Andi's journey in season 2. However, I don't want this to fall into the same trap of not just Tyler Perry, but a lot of other storytellers where we see character regression instead of character progression. Now, even if Gary is being set up, he still is a 2-timing cheat. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting to say the least. I really do hope that Andi does move forward. But then again, how many times has Karen said that she's done with Zach, but then she goes back to Zach, and then Zach is all pouty, and then things seem to be going well with Karen, but then something happens, and then it messes up, and then, yada, yada, yada. Same thing with like the whole Aaron storyline. But we'll just have to wait. Or, Sabrina, like, oh my God, Calvin, I think he's, gay, or, oh, he's not gay, but then he's flamboyant, and then I don't want to be with him, and then I want to be with him, and, back and forth. So we will have to see how things play out. I'm not going to condemn the show before it even comes on, but I'm just kind of making note of similar track records and other Tyler Perry projects. So I do hope that if Andi walks out, Mary J. Blige, I'm not going to cry no tears. Let's see what happens from there. But let me know your thoughts. Do you think Andi's done with Gary for good? Once a cheater, always a cheater, or what? I mean, literally, he was still, like her or love her or hate her, Jasmine is still technically his wife, just like Miranda's technically Calvin's wife on House of Pain. And yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, guys. Well, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Is Andi done with Gary for good? Will they communicate again? Most likely. I feel like they will. Like, especially if Leslie comes up with something and it turns out, hey, Gary is telling the truth. What? Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. All right, guys. If you would like to donate to the channel, legally, not illegally, like the money laundry that Gary was involved with allegedly, feel free to hit me up on PayPal, Cash App, or join Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next time.